here's the next in a series about playing over changes, series 3 in fact now. The change we're going to be looking at today is quite an interesting one, I think. I mean, they're all interesting, but this one is slightly different than the changes we've played before. The preceding changes we've had E, okay, C sharp minor, C, G. Okay, now the next chord in the sequence is a C ninth. Okay, now what's interesting about this is how the harmonies are very different from the G. Now, to really explain that, I think the easiest way to do it is say if I change from C to G, okay, and that's a sound you will have in your head if you've been practicing that change, right? Okay, but what if I went like this? That's a completely different change, isn't it? Well, okay, what does G minor, which is what I just played there, got to do with C ninth? Well, you may already be familiar with this particular concept, but if not, here goes. If we play a C seventh, we've got C, E, G, and B flat. Okay, so it's an extension on what was our original triad of C, 1, 3, 5. If we add another note to that, a third higher again, so 1, 3, 5, flat 7 and 9, so C, E, G, B flat and D, we now have a G minor on top of our C. This is actually great fun to play over because once we arrive in our G, all we've got to do is think, well, if we change from G major to G minor, we will articulate that change very nicely. Okay, let's take a little example. Okay, now that sounds like if I was playing over G again. Doesn't really sound very good, especially someone who's still playing G. It would sound excruciating. Okay, but what about this? And there's nothing wrong. Again, we know how to play over a seventh chord now. We played over a few of them, haven't we? Loads of possibilities there. Now, if we had more time on the C9, then we'd have more time to have a wander around our G minor and think about how many colours we can play over that. So here's a little example if we had a little bit more time on the C9. Okay, you don't have that much time, but okay, fine. That's all stuff which can be used. Now there is another argument here which is worth considering, and it's something I'll be covering in a future series over what to do when there aren't any changes to play over. So if someone's playing G7 for 10 minutes, what do I do with that? Or if someone's playing C9 for 10 minutes, what do I do with that? Well, what I just played is a good example of what you might be able to do with that. Thinking about how to use other chord frameworks on top of existing chords. But anyway, that's a little way down the road yet, but something I will be coming back to and dealing with in a fair amount of detail. However, just by using that piece of knowledge, we can quite clearly articulate our G chord going to C9. Okay, so it's another great one to work on in this position, but as ever, there are other places you could do this stuff. So to take an example, as I've said before, you know, C9th is really just a posh C7 chord, if you will. So to keep our chord references a little bit, to keep them easy, we don't want to do difficult, we want to do easy. Okay, providing we can still get a good result. So, okay, here's our C shape G, and here is our C7. So there's plenty of opportunity to play there, and maybe just treat it as a 7th chord, because at the end of the day, somebody's playing a 9th in the background. You don't necessarily have to play that yourself. You can say, well, you've already got the 9th, I'll just carry on with the 7th. You get the idea. Okay, now if we like, we can still use the 9th. Yeah, it's not against the law. You know, they're very, very striking phrases, and you just need that little bit of knowledge about where stuff is. Now, in my mind's eye, you're probably thinking, well, it's all very well saying that there's, you know, I can use a scale as a reference, so I'm in danger there of crossing the reference points. It doesn't mean it's not true, but you know, for some of you that may be quite a lot to carry around in your head, or you may be saying, well, hang on, I didn't know we could do that, and that's another whole can of worms, and arguably you'd be right. So what I'm going to do here is just give you another little chord shape, which I think is really, really useful for when there's a 9th on the premises somewhere, if you want to call it that. So you're playing in a situation where people are playing a 7th chord, and you think, actually, I think I could get away with using the 9th here. Okay. I think this position's fairly well known to people. Okay, it's not particularly difficult to play. It's a C7, which has got a D on the top, so C9. Okay, but it's this one that I think is really useful. Okay, now this is a little bit tricky to hold down this chord shape, but we're not actually talking about holding down the chord shape, are we? We're talking about using it as a map. So if you can see this in your mind's eye, it's showing you and again we've got another 9th there, so there's another position that you could play. But okay, there's lots of possibilities there, aren't there? But if, as I say, in your mind's eye, if you can picture that, there's loads of possibilities that you could play there. There's a couple more changes yet to go in this particular solo, and we'll be dealing with some of those in the next couple of segments. Okay, as ever, just concentrate on that change, G to C9. Really important to get that in your head, and as you will have gathered, it's going to be a really useful thing to be able to do. Anyway, that's it for this particular segment, so I'll see you in the next one, and thanks very much for watching. If you could press the subscribe button, that'd be great. Thanks a lot. Bye for now.